If you really want to master the pathophysiology of measles, don't just memorize steps. Visualize a full story happening inside the body. It all begins with a silent invasion. The virus enters through inhalation, attaching to epithelial cells of the respiratory tract. At this early stage, there are no major symptoms, which makes measles dangerous because the patient is already contagious. The virus uses host cells to replicate and then quickly spreads to local lymphatic tissue. A key point to remember here is that measles targets immune cells like lymphocytes and macrophages, which allows it to bypass early immune defense and multiply efficiently. Once replication increases, the virus enters the bloodstream in what we call primary viremia. Think of this as the virus gaining access to a highway system that allows it to travel throughout the body. It reaches organs such as the liver, spleen, and bone marrow, where it continues to replicate. This stage is still clinically mild, but internally the viral load is rising rapidly. A useful mnemonic to remember this early spread is entry. Lymph blood, which reminds you of the sequence from respiratory entry to lymphatic spread and then into circulation. The next stage is the most critical secondary viremia. This is when the virus re-enters the bloodstream in much larger numbers and spreads aggressively to target tissues like the skin, conjunctiva, and respiratory tract. This phase correlates with the onset of major clinical symptoms, such as high fever, cough, coryza, and conjunctivitis. A helpful clinical tip is to associate the 3 C's with this stage: cough, coryza, and conjunctivitis. These symptoms occur because the virus causes inflammation and damage in epithelial linings of the respiratory system and eyes. Now comes one of the most important exam concepts. The characteristic rash of measles is not caused directly by the virus. Instead, it is the result of a T-cell-mediated immune response. As the immune system recognizes infected endothelial and epithelial cells, T cells attack and destroy them, leading to inflammation and the classic red maculopapular rash. This rash typically starts on the face and spreads downward to the trunk and limbs, which is a key diagnostic feature. You want a quick memory trick? Think face-to-feet spread means measles. Another important point is that fever spikes during rash appearance due to increased cytokine release. Koplik spots, which appear as small white lesions inside the cheek, are another hallmark feature. These occur due to viral replication in mucosal epithelial cells and are often seen before the rash. Clinically, this is a golden window for early diagnosis, so always check the oral cavity in suspected patients. As the immune response intensifies, the body begins to clear the virus. Antibodies are produced and viral replication decreases. The rash gradually fades and symptoms improve. However, here is a critical concept often overlooked: measles causes temporary immune suppression. The virus affects memory immune cells, weakening the body's defense against other infections. This is why patients are at high risk of developing complications like pneumonia, otitis media, or even encephalitis after apparent recovery. In special situations, such as immunocompromised patients, the presentation may be atypical. These patients may not develop the characteristic rash because their immune system is too weak to mount a T-cell response. However, this actually makes the disease more dangerous, as the virus continues to replicate unchecked, leading to severe and sometimes fatal complications. In malnourished children, especially those with vitamin A deficiency, the disease tends to be more severe due to impaired epithelial integrity and immune function. From a clinical reasoning perspective, always connect pathophysiology with symptoms. Early viral replication explains mild flu-like symptoms. Viremia explains systemic spread, and immune response explains rash and inflammation. If you understand this flow, you won't need to memorize isolated facts. Instead, you will be able to predict symptoms and complications logically. A final high-yield tip for exams and practice is to remember the sequence as a story. Inhalation, silent multiplication, lymph node spread, blood dissemination, organ invasion, immune reaction, rash appearance, and recovery with temporary immune weakness. When you see a patient with fever, cough, red eyes, and a downward spreading rash, your brain should immediately connect these signs to the underlying mechanism happening inside the body. So instead of seeing measles as just another viral infection, think of it as a dynamic interaction between a rapidly spreading virus and a powerful immune response that both protects and harms the body at the same time. That understanding is what separates memorization from true clinical mastery.